Good evening and welcome to Coffee Talk. Good evening, the Bud Files and the Black Widow. Hello. Please leave a like to support the channel. I hope you're doing well. Been a day. Yes, Black Widow, I know you left a like. I have one like right now. I'm sure as some more people come in, I will get more likes. I watched a video earlier by KP Heathen, and he had the two stoves I had sent him. And he did a little video about the two stoves, about 6 minutes long. It was enjoyable. I enjoyed it. Hello, Michaela. Michaela Missick. And thank you for my second like. Yeah, I think that's what he does for a living. You know, the strongest concrete to ever be created was concrete that the Romans back 2,000 plus years ago. And they just recently found out the formula that the Romans used. Better concrete than the stuff we have today. I mean, stuff that they poured a couple of thousand years ago that's still holding up. You know, I mean, good quality stuff. I mean, better than our stuff. And they recently found out the ingredients that they put in them. Hello, Isobar. Thank you for coming in. I'm always fighting with myself. Yeah, I'm inching up to 1700. When I get to 1700, there will be a. I hope it's. I hope you're doing well over there, Isobar. The Philippines are beautiful. Uncle Al Die Bullfrog 79. Thank you for like number 3. I hope you're feeling better. I prayed for you today. Seven in the house and 4 likes. Seven in the house, 5 likes. Oh, it just jumped up to 10. Wheelchair Girl 67, welcome. I will tell you, and most of you know this, but apparently a few of you do not. All right, I'm looking at comments. Hi, Joshua. I have not seen a comment from Joshua. Maybe I am blind. Mom of 4 boys. How are you doing? Nine in the house. So I am sitting at 1,693 subscribers. I'm inching my way, inching my way, inching my way to 1,700. 25.6K views for the 28-day cycle. It is coming up slowly but surely. And 521 watch hours. And they are inching their way up slowly. My last live, here lately, my lives have not been doing what I would like to see them do. Last night I had 58 views on my live stream, and I had just 10 hours of watch time, which, when you think about possibly the number of viewers, and I did 1 hour, I just did an hour, did like an hour and 1 minute, 10 watch hours. My last video has 43 views and I think about 28 people who had commented on it. My current short has 133 views. I dropped it a couple hours ago. Little Lone Prepper. How are you doing, Little Lone Prepper? So, as I was going to say earlier, and I honestly think most of you who are here right now know this, when you go into somebody's video, their short, their community wall, their live stream, hit the like button. Leave them a like. It doesn't cost you anything to tap the like button. It will help them with the YouTube algorithm or the AI or whatever you want it, the demon or whatever is behind YouTube. Please hit the like button. Does not cost you a thing to do that. 16 in the house, 8 likes. 16 in the house, 8 likes. And I will tell you, I've got a number of people that I'm subscribed to, and I by far I can't I can't be a patron to all of them. I can't patronize all of them. I'm probably subscribed to 1900 different channels. And the ones that I tend to give the most time to are the ones that give me consistent time. The one that I get notifications on. I hit the notifications bell. Their shorts get thrown into my streams, my recommendeds. And I try to, when I have time, give them patronage. Yeah, I know I deal with AIs. I know I deal with a lot of AIs. Everything's got so-called artificial intelligence, which is sort of an oxymoron to me because I don't see anything artificial as being intelligent. It's programmed. Some Yahoo programs computer code or whatever. They program their likes and their dislikes and their preferences and their, they program this stuff into the equipment so that it does, what is programmed to do. I know you do, Little Lone Prepper. Hello, Enrique Trevino. Thank you for the like. I will. Yeah, remember Frankenstein. Shelley. Mary Shelley. So, when we have a child, that child is completely dependent upon us, or it's dependent on somebody. You have to feed it, you have to change diapers, wash it, clothe it, nurture it, care for it, protect it, keep it from hurting itself, until it gets to a certain age. And as the baby grows, its abilities increase. It starts learning language. What words do you think it learns? It learns the words that we teach. If you teach it to speak properly, it will speak properly. If you teach it to speak Ubonics or whatever other, if you teach it bad words, or if you teach the child, he or she, bad words, what do you think the child's going to speak? Some people think it's funny to hear a small child cuss. You do not want to teach a small child to cuss, because it might be funny at first, but send that child to daycare, send that child to preschool, take that child to church or anywhere else, and what do you think that child's going to say? And probably quite loud. So there are a number of kids these days that are what we would call socially maladjusted. Socially maladjusted. It's a term. It's a term. Think about tribalism. What's tribalism? Well, back in the days, way back in the days and earlier times, who did we associate with? Back during the earliest times when the civilization was developing, you had a family. You had an extended family. You had 2 or 3 families together, becoming an extended group. You had intermarriage. Early on, you had, bloodline marriages where people would marry within their bloodline. What we tend today to call incest. And there are examples of it in the Bible. If I'm not mistaken, Abraham and Sarah were half siblings. They were related. They shared a parent. You had one of the patriarchs married sisters, Rachel and Rebecca. They were sisters. He wanted to marry, I believe, the younger one, but he had to marry the older one first, and he had to earn her. He had to pay a bride price, and he had to earn the money. He had to earn the right to marry her, and then he got to marry the one that he wanted. He married both of them, had kids with both of them. No, there's nothing funny about a child acting out, and that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about socially maladjusted kids becoming socially maladjusted adults. The way they behave might be acceptable in their subculture, their little small family unit or their little area, but it's not acceptable in the greater society, polite society. And unfortunately, we're getting more and more of these people who are socially maladjusted. Back before I retired, and this has been 6 or 7 years ago, I had this family. Both of the parents were in their 20s. They were in their mid to late 20s. And they had a couple of kids, a boy and a girl. The girl was older than the boy. By a couple of years. And both of the parents had been in prison. They had both been in state prison. They both were tatted up. They had facial tattoos. They were very rough. And they had these little kids, elementary school kids. And I was in a smaller district. And I had to help the other principal when there would be meetings with these people. They were the type of people that you wanted witnesses, and you really wanted to record the meeting, but you would always make sure you had somebody with you when you met with them, and you wanted to have the local constabulary, the police or constable or whoever on speed dial, in case things got out of line or out of hand. But the kids, the boy was a real mess up. The girl behaved a lot better, but the boy was a real mess up. And the father thought it was funny. When the kid would do something other, the father thought it was funny. He taught the kid a lot of his misbehavior. The mother would try to be better, and she would try to, and she'd get on the dad, you'd be meeting with him there, and she'd say something to him about taking stuff seriously. But when you looked at them, and you looked at the way they dressed, and these were poor people, and you look at the tats, and you look at the facial tats, and the piercings, you really had to feel sorry for the kids. Because what are they learning? What are they being taught? And I watched a movie called Idiocracy. And it was a comedy. And it was about these two people that had an average IQ. They were 100 IQ. And they were placed in this machine. There was an experiment. And they were going to place them there for 1 year. They placed them in this suspended animation machine. And they got forgotten. And like 300 years later, something happened and they thawed out. And the world had changed. And the world was full of idiots. And these two people with a 100 IQ were now the smartest people on the planet. And the explanation of how things got there was the bright people, the wealthier people, the people who were brighter, the people who had better abilities, they had fewer and fewer kids until it got to the point where these people were not having kids and they weren't reproducing. And then all you were getting was the people who really did not need to have kids having kids, and they had quite a bit of them. So you had a society of low functioning, low IQ, it was supposed to be funny, low IQ people. And that's to an extent what you're getting today. You're getting more and more people who are not really, they're socially maladjusted to the greater society. And they're having kids. A lot of them out of wedlock. A lot of one single parent families. People who are struggling or living off the government. They're not really taking care of their kids. They're not teaching their kids. when their kids get in trouble, a lot of times they show up and they want to defend the child and they want to make it personal and they want to play the race card or they want to do this or they want to do that. And it's not their child. It's the school or it's whatever, or they're being bullied, you know. And they're becoming a large, and they vote. They vote. In the last election, and and people talk about how Trump got several million more votes than any other Republican presidential candidate in history. If you look at how did McCain do? How did Romney do? How did Bush do? Even when Bush got elected, Trump got 5, 6, 7 million votes more than these other people. And he lost the election. I question how he lost and the circumstances and some of the votes, in places where it was very close and there were some funny votes there that came in after the fact or last minute. Some of those deniers, I guess. But yes, Uncle Al, tribalism and family units. Well, it's not capital punishment, it's corporal punishment. Corporal punishment is where you spank a child. Capital punishment is where you execute somebody. Yeah, what was that Reagan used to say? The scariest words to hear. I'm from the government and I'm here to help. You know, and honestly, yeah, I miss Ronald Reagan because he used to tell some good jokes, and he drinking tea, sweet tea from leftover from my supper. It'll wind up being a short at some point. I got a double burger combo cheeseburger all the way with a large order of fries and a sweet tea. I really didn't need anything. I didn't need any breakfast. I had a couple of cups of coffee and my medication. I had very, very little for lunch, which was my only meal. So I was like starving. So I actually ate a decent meal today. Yeah, idiot K people. Idiot K people. You do not know how many times I've had people try to play the race card on me when I was a principal. And I would not tell them, well, my wife's Hispanic and my daughters are half and half. But one of the stories I tell is this family, and the mom had been in state prison. There really wasn't a father, and she had 3 kids, and they were all fairly close together, and they were all in junior high. One of them had failed a year or had been held back. So you had 2 of them that were in 8th grade, and the other one was a 6th grader. And one of them, the girl probably should have been at high school. She should have been a freshman, and she'd been held back. They gave me unholy hell. And I handled most of the discipline at the time. And they would get written up, and they would go, the girl would go in the bathroom to fight boys, and they would do this, and they would assault people, and just all sorts of crap. And I had to place them. I would have to deal with them, and at some point, I had to place them in DAP. And she would come in, and she would talk about how I was out to get her kids, and I was prejudiced, and and all this BS. And I try to explain to her, said, I'm not the one writing the referrals. I have to deal with them. And I said, they're getting referrals by multiple teachers and for doing stupid stuff. And at some point, it's persistent misbehavior, and I got to deal with, or they get in a fight, and I got to deal with them. One day, I was at the mall with my wife and daughter, and I guess, one of them was with the mom at the mall in the food court and said, hey, that's Mr. Lynn and his family. So, and she didn't approach me or anything. Next time her kid got in trouble, I had to meet with her. And she said, Mr. Lynn, I know your wife is Mexican, and all, but you're still out to get my kids. I mean, I swear to you, and that's been maybe 15 years ago. No, closer to 20, closer to 20 years ago. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. Um, KP Heathen, how you doing, KP Heathen? I watched that video you released of those two stoves I gave you. Thank you for the little call out. Nice video. So, we've been talking about, I guess, what you call tribalism. Um, look at what is happening in Chicago, where they're having the Democratic convention. You've got, mobs, protests, all sorts of, police getting assaulted, vandalism, all these people protesting, counter protesting. You didn't have that when the Republicans had their convention. Look at what's happening over in Europe, in the UK, Germany. All of the anti-immigrant and anti-Muslim immigrant. You can be from one of the Nordic, what you call them, the Nordic countries, and they speak different languages and they look sort of alike. And you can go anywhere, Northern Europe, maybe even Southern Europe. They're all Christians. Maybe they're atheists, but they all have Christian values, no problems. They don't cause any trouble. Nobody troubles them. But then bring in some Muslims from the Near East, and look at all the crap that's happening. They want to impose their version of religion by force. They want to impose their religious laws by force. They radicalize a lot of them, and then you've got them attacking non-Muslims, women, children, people, talking about jihad and holy war and their God, and they had an incident. A kid, teenager from Africa, Muslim, went into this dance class with a bunch of prepubescent 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old kids in Scotland, and stabbed like 11 or 12 people, stabbed 3 of the kids to death, and stabbed another 8 or 10 people. 2 adults trying to protect the kids and everything got stabbed. And the people are going nuts over it. And they've arrested over 1,000 people for people are just going nuts over it. And they're already trying them and wanting to put them in prison. We'll hunt you down. We know who you are. We'll get you. We're not going to put up with that hate. And they're talking about the Christians. Because they're fed up. They're fed up with all the attacks, that are going on in their neighborhoods. The stuff that they're having to put up with. The bend over backwards catering for them. my thing is, hey, there's a mosque here where I live. I go by it. It's like a church. I go by it. I don't mess with them. I don't bother them. I don't see them and try to proselytize to them. You know, when I used to be a active member of Gideon's International, I would go into churches, invite into churches to speak and to witness the Gideon ministry, to accept an offering at the end of the services to help buy Bibles that we placed in hotels and motels, and we give out, and placement and such, hospitals and various facilities. I don't bother those people. I don't threaten them, but I don't want them bothering me, and I don't want them threatening me, and I don't want them attacking my people. And if that's the way they live, and if that's their beliefs, and if it's in their, if it's in their version, their holy book, as part of their faith to do that, then they, in my opinion, if I have the right to an opinion, free speech, First Amendment, then they don't need to be here. And not all of them are doing that, but there's a large minority of them. Like they talk about, over 1 billion of them. Well, maybe a couple of 100 million of them are radicalized. That's still a couple of 100 million out of 1 billion people. And yeah, you can say, well, the Christians have, or the Christians are doing such and such and such. How many? How many incidents? How many involved? A few? You can find a few of anybody. I'm looking at the numbers. Yoda, how's it going? Well, have you passed me yet? $16.41, you'll be there, don't worry. You'll probably hit 1700 before I do. Hello, SSR. I've been on a rant. Yep, I've been on a rant. Nine in the house. I have earlier on, and I really don't anymore, but I befriended, I guess what you'd call a purely growth channel. They'd go on and they do a live stream, and everything's hello, connect, hello, reach out, subscribe, and they don't have a damn thing to say. They don't talk about anything. They don't voice any opinions. They don't talk about the news. They smile at you. How you doing? How's the weather? And that's it. And I have tried to make my channel educational, and I talk about, from my experience in going back to stories from my parents and my aunts and my uncles who were from a different generation, these people having been born over 100 years ago. I mean, were my mother alive or my father alive, they both would be over 100. You know, and they talked about their parents, my grandparents. That throws it even further back, like into the 19th century, not the 20th century, the 19th century, and growing up in the latter part of the 19th century. So, I grew up on those stories, you know, and have pictures back when black and white. My father was big into photography, way back when, you know, it was popular hobby photography. Lots of pictures of stuff from way back when, you know, and the way things used to be, and the way things have changed. And the idea of, you know, how much did you pay for this? And everything was cheap. No, you didn't make as much as you do today, but in adjusted dollars you do, and a lot more. There are a lot more people, in the middle class, in the upper middle class. And they all dressed well. Nobody was wearing old blue jeans with holes in them. That was absolutely embarrassing for you to be seen in clothes that was ratty and raggedy. That wasn't something to be proud of. That was something to be shameful about. And my daughter had bought some of these faded out holes, and she said she paid quite a bit for them. Probably using my money. I said, what in the hell are you wearing those things for? And then, tell the story about how people used to have to patch. They would wear clothes like that had patches on them. And you could tell that they'd been patched and sewed up. And these are poor people. If they could afford good clothes, they wore good clothes. They didn't dress, they didn't dress like that. And you didn't have them with the pants halfway down their ass where you could see their underwear. They pulled their pants up. They wore a belt. Their pants fit them. They tucked their shirts in. They didn't wear them out. They tucked their shirts in. Frozen? Somebody frozen? Amanda Jean. Good Lord, my daughter's here. I guess she's listening to me on my rant. Oh. Didn't know my kid was in here. Where are you? Hello. Oh, there she is. All right, honey. Gave you standard moderator. Didn't know my kid was going to sneak in on me. Well, I tell you what, as far as the algorithm for Community Wall, um, Dave, I did a Community Wall post today. I haven't checked it, and I shouted out 25, 30 channels. I might have gotten 8 or 10 likes and maybe 4, 5, 6 comments. You know, when I do Community Wall posts, I figure a handful of people look at them. Not that many. Mainly, I'm trying to show respect for those who are that if I'm not going to do a live stream, let them know the reason I couldn't do a live stream or whatever. But I do posts and recommendations and such. And usually when I do a Community Wall post, I'll tell you, hey, I've got something up that you might want to look at and possibly consider buying. I own it, and this is it, and this is the price, and this is where you get it. That's usually what I do with Community Wall posts. Hello, Joseph Moore. Hello, Mike. I mean, like, okay, you see, I'm wearing a long sleeve white dress shirt. I wear slacks. I wear a belt. I've been wearing some Skechers. I got a pair of black Skechers. I got a pair of brown Skechers. I've been wearing for work. They're comfortable. They're not really dressy. I've got dress shoes, but they're not real stiff, and I can wear them, and they're fairly comfortable. And I look professional in them. I mean, if you saw a picture of my grandfather who died in 1959, before I was born, and he was in his early 70s, passed away from emphysema, lifelong smoker adult. Uh, you would see him wearing a long sleeve white dress shirt, slacks, and dress shoes. He usually didn't have a tie. If he wore a tie, he would wear a bow tie. He'd wear bow ties. They were popular back then, bow ties. He'd have a jacket. Sometimes he'd have something with a vest and a jacket, full suit. But usually a long sleeve white shirt, slacks, shirts tucked in with belt, and dress shoes. And he was a farmer by profession. And, you know, no, he would not be wearing that out on his tractor because he wasn't the one on the tractor. It was somebody that worked for him to be on the tractor. You know, plowing, cultivating, you know. Miss Anne Marie. Welcome, Miss Anne Marie. And Mike Crusher Reviews. Again, hello. Miss Anne Marie. So, folks, I think my daughter probably came in, said hi, and left. But every once in a while, she'll leave a little something other or a thumbs up so you knew she was there, or hi. But then she disappears before I can embarrass her. No, you're still here? I gotta embarrass her now. I'm very proud of my daughter. She has a master's degree in, in clinical counseling, bachelor's in psychology. She passed her licensing test, made a 96. So now she just has to complete her 3,000 supervised counseling hours, and then she can get her LPC, and the going rate's over $100 an hour for counseling. Very proud of her. I've encouraged her, and I've watched her and nurtured her, and she's my pride and joy. Very proud of her. And I embarrass her like that all the time. I'm always type to tell her how much I love her. And she is my best friend, and I would give my life for her. So before my eyes start watering, yeah, I'm a softy. I'm a soft touch for my kid. So I will show you the latest acquisition. You know, and I do eat what I buy. So I got another box. And I open the box. And why they send stuff the way they do, I don't know. Got to get rid of that. It goes into the... That will go into the green trash can for recycles. This is a 6-pack of Ben's. Used to be Uncle Ben's. Now they call it Ben's. They're trying to be less. Used to have a picture of a black gentleman in an apron, like a cook. Used to call it Uncle Ben's. And this is Uncle Ben's Jasmine Rice. 250 calories per cup. Microwave 90 seconds, BPA-free pouch. Total of 420 calories in this. I bought a 6-pack for $10. Amazon delivered. 6-pack. Six-pack, $10. Now, if the grid was down and I couldn't use the microwave, you take one of those sterno stoves, like Heathen showed in his video earlier, pot of water, light it up, about 10 minutes with this, 10 minutes with your main, a Hormel Complete or a retort pouch or whatever. You got rice and you got whatever your main is. You know, meal, less than $2. Less than $2. Not hard. Not rocket science. 6 of them. So, then you can mix and match. Put some beans with it. Put some meat with it. Put some chicken chunks with it. Beef chunks, Spam, whatever. I mean, if you have a grid down situation, society's having issues, apples and pineapples, good stuff. Freeze dried, that's great, Black Widow. I'm doing fine, Anne Marie. I'm just tired. Been a long day. been a long day. You know, I have a very good relationship with my daughter. I ask her for advice on occasion. You know, her area, she had her areas. She's very good. Her people skills are excellent. That's what she studied for the last 7 or 8 years. You know, human nature. What makes a person tick? Uh, Motivations, choices, dealing with situations. You know, and we talk. You know, I can talk to her because, you know, having been a school administrator for 23 years, put 30 years in education, retired, I'm back now. My experiences. You do a lot of that. I've got a friend who's a retired counselor. He's got an LPC. He was a school administrator. He was a counselor. I get free sessions from him. We get together for breakfast every couple of weeks for an hour and a half. And we talk. I can talk to him about stuff. You know, he talks to me about stuff. We talk. We talk about our families. We talk about politics. We talk about society, the way things are going. You know, he asks about school, you know, because he's been retired a while. And, you know, so night in the house, slow night, 20 likes. I may not be on tomorrow. Tomorrow is Wednesday, and Wednesdays during the school year we have staff meetings. I may or may not. If I'm not, I will probably leave a notification on my community wall. So if you don't see me on, go look at my community wall, and chances are it'll tell you, you know, what's up. If you want an opportunity for my 1,700 subscriber giveaway, you need to go to each of my last 5 videos, leave a like and a supportive comment. And when I hit 1,700, I will make a list and I'll check it twice. And whoever has left me a like and supportive comment, I'll be counting up the comments. If I can go back 5 on you, you'll be in the hat. And right now I'm sitting at like 1,693. I'm inching my way up. Hello, Anne Marie. Anne Marie Wilson, 9463. Welcome to my channel. Appreciate you coming in. I talk about preparedness, school, life's experiences, what's going on in the news. Take care, Uncle Al. God bless you. I'll be praying for you. Is my kid stubborn? Yes, she's stubborn. She takes after her father, you know, or she takes after her mother because her mother's stubborn. I could tell you stories about her getting in trouble with the school librarian. She would always sneak in her lunch. I always gave her money to eat out for lunch, you know. She didn't like the school food. When she got older, the older kids would always eat out for lunch when she's at high school, and she'd want to sneak in her food, or actually, she wasn't sneaking in food, but she'd sneak her drink in. She'd sneak in her water. And she's very good at spilling. She was a little bit when she was a teenager. She was a little bit of a klutz. She was very good at spilling stuff, and she was taking dual credit high school college classes, and she was in the library like 3 periods a day with some of those dual credit classes, and she graduated from high school with 30 college hours. Actually, she actually graduated from high school as a sophomore in college. Once you get 30 hours, you're a sophomore. Very proud. Had more college hours than anybody else in her class. You know, and she was a good student, but she was not the top 10 of her class. But she had more college than any in the top 10 of her class. And bright girl, very bright girl. You know, I mean, I was a disappointment. My mother was in the top 10 of her class, and I went to Catholic school and the nuns, and I was an underachiever. I graduated in the upper part of my class, but I was not. I was not in the top 10 of my class, and I had issues and such. With the death of that's another story to get into, but I had serious teenage issues about the death of my father when I was 14. Very traumatic for me. I was very close to my father. So, when you wake up in the morning, thank God for the day, say the Lord's Prayer, drink some coffee, take your medication. I take my medication. I take 6 different pills, every day, medication. Contemplate what's going on, get yourself organized, get cleaned up, and go to work or go about your business. Life is good, but it is what it is. Things happen. That's why we got to be prepared. Little tragedies, little accidents, flat tires, and batteries, that go out and things. Treat people the way you want to be treated. Respect your elders. Tell those you love them. Lead by example. And a good leader's got to be a good follower. Teaching is a ministry. The term rabbi that they used to refer to the Lord in Jewish religious elders, they call them rabbis, teachers. That's teacher. I will try to be back tomorrow. If I'm not, I'll leave a post. Thank you for coming in. This was the 300th episode of Coffee Talk. And everybody, please have a blessed day. Thank you.